Intelligence collection is becoming very different. Used to focus a lot on humans, right? Human intelligence now increasingly is intermediated by technology. How do you see the Americans faring in the future of intelligence gathering, collection, and processing?
I think it's sort of interesting because it goes into we are in a transition stage in so much as the last 20 years in the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq were wars of counterterrorism. So they're much more tactile in terms of the human networks you're dealing with. Now we're sort of in a back to the future moment where we're re-entering this era of great state competition. And so suddenly the intelligence failures are, for instance, yes, the failure to see the collapse in Afghanistan, but the success in seeing the intention of Russia to invade Ukraine and places that we're obviously watching very, very closely. For instance, like what is China's intention in Taiwan? And so those were the types of intelligence questions that once upon a time featured very prominently in American life. And it's sort of in the last 20 years there's been this aberration where the intelligence community hasn't been as focused on the intentions of states, but more sort of the intentions of terrorist networks or even individuals. And now we're kind of getting back to that great power competition.
So before we close, your book, The Fifth Act, kind of follows this classic arc of a Greek tragedy. I'm wondering if you had a sixth act, especially because you've spent a lot of time recently thinking about the future of military warfare, and you had to look a couple decades ahead at Afghanistan. What do you think that chapter would look like in your book?
Well, I think the sixth act is really the rise of authoritarian alliances in the world and how we, the West or the free nations of the world are going to once again rally ourselves to stand up against this type of authoritarianism. I think in Afghanistan we saw what seemed like a very dark and dysfunctional chapter with regards to the resolve of international alliances like NATO. I think in Ukraine we've seen that there still exists an ability to muster that resolve and to stand against an authoritarian. But the question in the sixth act, as you put it, is who is going to wind up on top in that contest between the old nations of the free world and these newer authoritarian states.